Braves #3 ranked prospect according to MLB Pipeline. Spencer Schwellenbach is on his way up, and he is going to start today against the Washington Nationals. Alex, I've got to ask you, what are you expecting to see from the youngster? 23, almost 24 years old, out of Nebraska, made his first professional start at the minor league level in 2023, already worked his way up to the majors.
Experience-wise, doesn't have a ton for his age, you would say, but he's still, like you said, 24 years old. I think, we talked about it yesterday, and the biggest thing is obviously nerves for anybody making their big league debut has got to be the nerves, especially as a starting pitcher. So I anticipate some lack of control at first, and then I expect him to settle in. And his calling card has been the control. That's what's got him to Atlanta so fast. But I think, overcoming nerves at this level, again, it is the Nationals and it is a weekday game, so it won't be, in the bright lights against the Boston Red Sox on a Friday night with a full packed house in Truist Park. So some of those things will absolutely help, but it's still the show. These are still major league hitters. So, if I had to guess a line, I think, he's going to get into a little bit of trouble in the first inning, and then I think he's going to settle down real nicely. I think he gives us, maybe 5 1/3 of 2-run ball, two walks that come in the first or second inning, but then settles in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident in this. Listen, I think Schwellenbach's got the stuff. I've talked about his control every time. I'm confident that he's going to go out there and throw strikes and challenge this Washington Nationals lineup. Now, sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes that can be a bad thing. Sometimes your control is missing too much in the middle of the plate and you start getting knocked around. But I'm confident he's going to have enough confidence to go out there and throw the strikes. And I think that's going to result in good things against this Nationals lineup. I saw something yesterday. I think it was Gabe Burns from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution wrote an article, and I think the quote was from, back when Spencer Schwellenbach was drafted back in 2021, from Dana Brown, who is now the general manager for the Houston Astros. He's been the guy who really pounded his fist for Tyler Matzik when he was in Indy ball for Spencer Strider. Some of the best draft picks that the Braves have made have been attributed to Dana Brown, which is why he got hired by the Houston Astros. He said about Spencer Schwellenbach, "This might be my most favorite draft pick I have ever made in my career." So if you believe in Dana Brown, who's one of the most who's one of the best evaluators of talent, I mean, there's endless examples of him.
Michael Harris.
Michael Harris pounding the table for some of the best players on the current Braves. That should excite you. And I think what we're seeing with Schwellenbach is him you talk about a guy who had Tommy John coming out. He was a two-way player at Nebraska. He was a shortstop and he was a pitcher. The Braves drafted him as a pitcher, immediately had Tommy John. Didn't make his professional debut until 2023. He had good numbers. He wasn't walking batters, but he didn't really have the swing and miss. And now you're just seeing it kind of all come together for him in this second year. I really think, and I know I've said it like 5 times over the last couple of weeks, I really think he could come up here and be really, really good. Like more closer to the Michael Sorokas when he came up and the Spencer Strider when he came up than the AJ Smith-Shavers and, the other guys like that. I really think that's the case because of that control. And it just seems like it kind of seems like he's got a little bit of swagger, a little bit of it behind him. So really excited for tonight. Now, that doesn't mean if he goes out there and gets shelled, he's going to be bad or good or whatever. Whatever happens tonight, you got to see more of a sample size. I'm just saying I really think he has a chance to make an impact on the team. There's a reason the Braves have called him up after 2 starts in Mississippi. They don't do that for anybody.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, that last thing that you said about taking this start with a grain of salt either way. I hope it's just something dead in the middle that's not incredibly good or incredibly bad because either way.
I'll take a perfect game.
Yeah, because Braves fans are going to do that. They're going to take they're going to take him getting shelled as he's a bum or he goes out there and throws 6 scoreless. He's the next ace. And it's always, like I say, it's somewhere in the middle. I hope it is somewhere in the middle. But what I hope more than that is that it isn't just one start either way. Well, obviously, if it's great, he's going to get another start. But if it's bad, I hope he gets another start. Like, just doesn't go back down. He gets this next his normal 5-day rest start. I want that to happen because I obviously don't know as much as Brian Snitker and Alex Anthopoulos and company, but I just feel like that's got to take a weight off your shoulders where you're not going out there with the expectation of getting demoted again if you don't perform. Whereas, you might have that confidence even more so if you know you're going to be in the rotation next week. You absolutely know that. You can go out there and just be yourself. I think there's value in that.
Yeah, I mean, I listen, I think pressure, the mental aspect of the game, I don't like when it's the same reason I say I don't like when people change up the lineups all the time. Like, there's times where where the lineup needs to be changed, but I think these players are a creature of habit. They want to know where they're going to play every day, what they're going to be hitting in the batting order.
Somebody has said that. Excuse me for interrupting. I don't know if it was Matt Olson, Austin Riley. It was some staple of this Braves lineup saying that. Like, I love playing for Brian Snitker because I know that even if I'm slumping, I'm going to be in the 3-hole or the 4-hole, whoever it was, I don't remember, that I'm going to be there every single day, even if I go 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. Like, I know that. There's value in that, and I couldn't agree more.
I think if you played at any level of baseball, you understand that. Like, if you played baseball at any single level, you played for coaches that like to switch around the lineup when you're slumping, and you played for coaches that are like, hey, you're batting second every single day for the entire season. I know you're this, this is your spot. And I think everyone would say they like one greater than the other. And there are times where it's like, okay, you've been slumping for 6 months, buddy. We got to move you to the back. But there's an exception to everything. But knowing for the most part that, if you, just keep doing your job, you're going to show up to the ballpark and you're going to be batting second and playing second base and stuff like that. I even watched a TikTok the other day, a minor leaguer talking about how, he went to big league spring training. He thought it was going to be really easy. They said he was going to struggle in AAA. He's like, all right, buddy, I'll be here in a month. Well, they kept moving him around the diamond, batting him all throughout the order. And then all of a sudden, they gave him a day off and said, you're batting second and you're going to be playing second for the rest of the season. And I don't know why they did that, but he was just like, he talked about how big it was just like a relief, like, oh, finally a routine. And I don't know if they were just trying to screw with them. I don't really understand the point early in the season, but he talked about how that routine and knowing where you're going to hit is important. I think every baseball player understands that. So yeah, if Schwellenbach has, a sense of assurance, whether he deserves it or not, that he'll be starting again, I definitely think it plays a factor.
Who deserves it? I mean, who deserves it over him? I'm not trying to dump on other guys, but, AJ Smith-Shawver went out there and threw a gem, and then he got hurt. There's nobody in AAA right now that absolutely deserves his next spot in the rotation. There's absolutely nobody. Bryce Elders looked like a tomato can out there. Darius Vines has had some success, but he's not. He doesn't feel like he's that guy. I mean, the list goes on and on. Dodd, Herschel Walker needs more seasoning. Like, yeah, this is crazy. I mean, he absolutely deserves it.
Well, I mean, he goes out. Here's the thing. You give that guy – you never want to overpromise and under-deliver.
Yeah, that's fair. Because if he
goes out there and pisses his pants. He pisses his pants. He starts crying on the mound. And you're just like –
well, you got to go up to him after that and be like, dude, Spencer, I didn't expect you to piss your pants in front of 40,000 people. We can't send you back out there 5 days later, buddy.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Never. So there's it's a double-edged sword. You got to think. And maybe Hurston deserves a shot. But listen, I think Spencer Schwellenbach is going to pitch well enough to earn another spot. I think we're all going to be really happy. And I'm really, really excited for this debut. Coming up after the break, we're going to break down the Western Conference Finals. The Wolves stay alive. Can they make this a series?